Talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore today. We're talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore our way. We're talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore today. We're talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore our way.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Animeoveranalyst here, and welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdcore. Today we're going to be talking about Black Clover, and my guest today is Professor Kuro. Kuro, you want to introduce yourself?
What's poppin', y'all? Professor Kuro here, talking about one of the baby goats of anime and manga right now, Black Clover. Y'all already know, me and Frost be going back and forth on the Twitters about it. I defend it to the death. Yes, sir.
All right, so is there anything you want to plug yourself on before we begin?
Y'all already know the deal. Make sure you guys hit the like, comment, subscribe on every video I've ever posted on YouTube. All 248/52. That's actually roughly the count. But make sure you follow the homie, animeoveranalyst on YouTube. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Do you Twitch or you live stream on YouTube,
I've
right?
done both.
You've done both.
I do
Make
both.
sure you always pop in for the live streams for the homie. This dude's really dope. One of my personal reactions that I do enjoy when they react to my content as well as when they react to other contents. And as for me, y'all know the name: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. We all over the place.
All right, so let's hop into this. So, Black Clover, you described as one of the new baby goated anime. You want to kind of describe Black Clover a little bit, and feel free to use spoilers or.
Oh, we can go spoiler crazy.
We're going
on this?
spoiler crazy. If you want to talk about manga, like I just read the most recent chapters of the manga, and those are crazy.
So, where do I want to start with Black Clover? And we can go manga spoiler crazy.
Yes.
All right. First things first. Can we talk about Magna?
Yeah.
Can we talk? Okay. That character arc is one of my personal favorites in Black Clover. Because the thing is that you have all of the Black Bulls getting these. And you have everybody.
Yeah.
Fucking Yuno got 2 grimoires, okay? What the fuck?
I saw that, and that was literally what I first read. So for those of you who don't know what we're kind of talking about, Black Clover is a manga anime series that takes place in an entire world where everybody knows magic, can cast magic, and they can cast it from these spell books called grimoires. Except for our main protagonist, Asta, who has no magic in him whatsoever. And so he wants to be the Wizard King, kind of like the Naruto wants to be the Hokage, typical shonen stuff. And then he joins the Black Bulls Guild and goes on some adventures with the Black Bulls crewmates and starts beating up some people with some mega swords.
Exactly. Which also, just quick side note, I do love the fact that, understand, listeners, Asta is by himself. He is literally one of one in the world that doesn't have magic. But we're just going to pivot real quick. One of my favorite things about Black Clover, and I can actually finally really explain why I defend Black Clover as much as I do. Yeah. Because it has the soul of One Piece in it. And let me explain to you what that means. It has the same soul of One Piece and of Fairy Tail.
Yes.
We are a unit. We are a family. We are a squad. You don't fuck with the Fairy Tail Guild. You don't fuck with them Straw Hats. And you do not fuck with them Bulls.
Yes.
And that is one of the things that I really love about Black Clover, is that it very much embraces that anime aspect of despair and pushing past your limits. Because I've now seen Black Clover about 3 times. I've seen One Piece 12 and I've seen Fairy Tail twice, right? And in One Piece, you have those moments, especially later, in the midway point of the series, where you taste despair. In Black Clover, that group dynamic, Asta gets killed in every fight if he does not have support. But at the very same time, those support fighters would be dead without Asta. So it's everyone all the time, all hands on deck, working together.
And Black Clover does something kind of unique to shonen, in which it really showcased team fighting and trying to combine skills. Because for most shonen, at least up to this point, they will try to incorporate some team stuff, and then usually it splits off to 1v1. And
then it's usually the big punch that wins.
Yes. Yep. And Instead of the big punch, it's just the hardest hitting sword.
The big sword. The biggest dull sword you'll ever fucking see.
I know, right? And so let's actually kind of talk a little bit about Asta. So Asta, like most shonen protagonists, has a demon inside of his grimoire, which actually is like interesting because it's the demon's in the grimoire, I believe. It's not in Asta himself. Yes. So that's already kind of off from the beaten path a little bit. And
yes, it took the traditional route and just said, we're gonna just little left.
Yeah,
go a little left.
And the whole thought is these grimoires, they're normally clover shaped. Well, actually, it kind of depends on the region.
Yes, there are 4 different regions or countries you have, and they're based off a deck of cards. So you have the Clover Kingdom, which is the main setting of the series, as well as where the protagonist and every single character that you meet really is from. Then you have the Heart Kingdom, the Spade Kingdom far to the north, which is now the current antagonist of the later part of the series. And then to the east is the Diamond Kingdom, which started off as adversaries, and then they got their own little arc, and stuff happens with them. We'll leave that for the viewers to enjoy on their own.
So it's real interesting that way. And so most people in the Clover Kingdom, their grimoires contain 3-leaf clovers. That's just kind of standard. And then there's also 4-leaf clovers, which is supposed to symbolize luck. 4-leaf, happy-go-lucky. The 5th leaf...
Extremely rare. Extremely rare.
Yeah, the 5th leaf means that you have a devil. And so far, well, I won't say so far. Right off the bat, Asta has a 5-leaf. And so he gets the devil grimoire, which is just super bonkers to begin with. Like, bro, I love Asta's character so much because he's the type of dude that's always kind of looks towards the positive side of things.
Yeah. And the thing is, it makes sense because with who Asta is, as the only non-magic user, you have, like, there are 2 characters that do this really, really well in anime, or that I've seen, that I've liked how they do it. And that's Asta and Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Where they both motivate themselves to the max. Like, if you watch Demon Slayer, Tanjiro talks to himself a lot.
Yes.
And with very much, like, with great honesty, he's like, yo, like, I can't fight this dude. No, I can't say that. I have to win. Like, they will self-motivate themselves. And with Asta, there is no external motivation. There is 0 external validation shitting on you, Deku.
Yeah.
Like, Asta's like, I have to be the one to do it. I'm gonna do it. Like, there is no other way but for me to succeed. And the one time you see him falter, some big shit happens in literally like episode 1, and boom, that grimoire's right there, and he goes, I have the means. Yes. I actually now have the path to do what I want to do. I just have to make sure I'm strong enough to do it. And that is the whole scope of the show. It's that idea of, as long as you don't die and you don't give up. And I'm currently wearing a Haikyuu shirt because that's one of Nishinoya, the Libero's big tenets. If the ball doesn't hit the floor, we haven't lost. If that game clock ain't 0 and that score ain't 25-0 or up by the deuce, we ain't out yet.
Yes.
And that's another reason why I love Haikyuu as well. That it's not over till it's over. I'm gonna find a way.
Love that mentality. And so we also get introduced to Asta's kind of foster brother, Yuno, also in the first page.
Yes.
And Yuno he and Asta are rivals, and Black Clover does rivals really well, where the point of the rival...
Everyone's a rival.
Yes. Everyone's a rival, but they don't do it where the rivals are like trying to diss each other and bring themselves down. The point of being a rival is to elevate the other person practically. And
yes, it's a form of respect. Yes. If I call you a rival, that means you are worthy of my vision to you as competition.
And I love that. The whole, like, we are both trying to elevate ourselves. Let's see who can get to the top first. And that's the whole Asta Yuno dynamic, where Yuno starts off with a 4-leaf clover. Like, already he starts off OP as heck. And
with Asta having no grimoire at that moment in time when Yuno gets his grimoire.
And so Asta, instead of giving up, he goes out and does like 1,000 push-ups because he's freaking Asta and he's swole as hell.
Which, okay, I love that mentality in anime.
Mm-hmm.
You have it with him, Rock Lee,
Yes.
Kenpachi, the dude from High School DxD, Sasagorion, I forget his name. He's from season 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
He has like the freaking line, like the gold line regalia. I love that idea. I don't have magic, so I am just going to physically train to the absolute brink and then train some fucking more. Because if I never plateau, my potential is if I never stop or settle, my potential is infinite.
Mm-hmm.
And the ironic thing is, because Asta spent his whole life honing his body, which for the longest time he was actually the second strongest physical character in the verse. I think second only to Yami up until technically now. Like honestly, now I'd give Asta the number one physical. That dude's a fucking whole guy. That dude's an impossible burger on fucking swords. All right, this dude's amazing.
When I first saw him in that last OP looking super swole, I was sitting there, I was like, he is thick.
I made a milkshake.
Yeah.
But the thing is that because of that constant preparation for whatever may come, he ended up having the physical strength to be the only, like, his grimoire and his ability of anti-magic, which we haven't really touched upon, but the way the world of Black Clover kind of creates a great equalization is that Asta does not have magic, but Asta's swords have anti-magic, specifically only his swords. That means if he throws his sword, the throw will cut through your magic, but he will not be able to block your magic at all. He is just a normal physical human, just stocky as hell. Which it's great because it always keeps him at a limitation. You have to do everything with your sword. You have to get quicker with your sword. You have to get stronger with your sword. You have to become creative with this ability, and that's what makes the team dynamic fight so important. Because you're like, yo, if Asta could just cut this big bad guy, we'd win. The problem is,
he's human.
We need to get Asta close enough to cut this big bad guy, and that's not an easy task.
Yes, like the perfect example is that Veto fight.
100%. That is one of the greatest team fights I've seen.
Awesome, yes, because it showcases Asta, Vanessa, and Finral. And Finral has
in the conclusionary part of it, yes.
They're in the conclusionary. The beforehand it was Magda and Luck, which also was fantastic.
Every Black Bull that was present in that arc has a moment in that fight against Venom.
Yes.
Up until literally the conclusionary Dimension Slash.
Oh, and yeah, because what's so cool is that Black Clover really is good at focusing on the support characters as well and giving them development. Finral has always been kind of the coward of the bunch for the most part. He kind of grew up, looking up to his younger brother, ironically. And Vanessa, she was kind of mysterious up to that point. We didn't get the Witch's Forest arc until afterwards, but we really got to see how important support roles are and how Finral especially started to become more confident in his abilities. Same thing with Noelle. Like, Noelle's entire magic is based off of her becoming confident. She couldn't control her magic to save her life in the beginning because she wasn't confident.
I'm gonna cut in for a sec. That is what makes Black Clover so amazing. The literal power system, grimoire, mana, magic, it is at its core tied to character development.
Yes.
If your character does not develop, you will get no new skills, no new pages, no upgrade. There is no ass pull power boost at the fucking 11th. Also, I can curse, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure because I've been fucking throwing curses left and right because it's just
fuck everything,
cool.
Everything.
So everything. So like that's the thing that I love about Black Clover is that to become stronger as a character, you must develop. And that ties all the way back to the first thing I said, which was talking about Magna.
Yes.
his arc is that for the longest time, like, he starts off as a very strong fighter, but very quickly, everyone in the Black Bulls surpasses him on some level, because in Black Clover, your rank in society is more than just monetary wealth. It's what is your mana reserves? How powerful of a mage are you? So if you are royalty or nobility, you got mana. You out here slinging spells for days, massive Titanic scale spells. But if you're a commoner or a peasant from the outskirts of the kingdom, you don't have that much mana. You don't have massive spells, so you have to have cunning. Magna's kind of an idiot until Magna gets pushed to the wall. And he feels despair, and he's like, no, I need to find a way to become smarter. And he consults with someone. I'm still going to add some levels of mystery. I don't want to give all the spoilers. But he ends up actually swallowing his pride and be like, listen, I need you to help me get stronger. And he's like, I can't make you stronger. I can just make you smarter, and you'll figure out your own way. And he does. And he creates his own great equalizing ability. And I'm not going to explain the ability or when he uses it or how he uses it. But pretty much, he is able to convert any fight into a battle of willpower. I'm talking hockey.
Yes.
It literally becomes, I am going to stand toe-to-toe with gods. And I am a peasant with low mana. And I'm going to fight you. And here's how I'm going to beat you. Because I'm more stubborn than you. Because I want to beat you more than you hate me. And that growth, that character development, and finding his own way to make it equal and understanding. I, as a person, mana-wise, I'm not strong. But my heart, my passion, my will, I will beat anybody. Especially for my crew. Which, again, ties into that whole One Piece family aesthetic. Like, they will find every way to push past every limit for each other. And I love that energy.
Yes, yes. And the whole thought of just... Magna gets influenced by Asta a lot in the Black Bulls, and we really get to see how every character gets influenced by Asta. And I think Magna really got his stubbornness from Asta a little bit. I mean, he was stubborn to begin with because he constantly fought against luck, and they always wanted to see who could win in a fight. But I think he really learned how to not give up with Asta, because Asta's number one quote is, "My magic is never giving up."
Honestly, Asta's number one quote, "I'm not done yet."
Yeah, okay, yes.
When you see, like, imagine you are literally seeing this shrimp of a, understand, Asta's like 5'5" with dimple.
Yes.
Like, he is a literal Krabby Patty on legs, okay? And you're watching this shrimp, okay? This kid who literally, the only reason why he got into a guild is because Yami was like, "You're weird and I like you."
Yes.
You see this kid at every point, and I tie this to One Piece a lot. One Piece does something amazing, where at every arc, Luffy does the unthinkable, the unimaginable. He saves something, he frees something, he destroys something. Usually all three, right? Every arc, Luffy has a miracle. Not to him, it's not a miracle like, like miracles have happened in One Piece. But what I mean is everyone witnesses Luffy do something miraculous. And that is why, especially in later arcs in the series, you see characters like, no. It's not a question of if. Luffy will be the Pirate King. Like, I've seen this man run through Marineford. I've been with him in Whole Cake. We were at Dressrosa. Like, we see him do this. And that is what inspires that loyalty. On the flip with Asta, it's not that his acts inspire loyalty. It inspires them to believe we can do anything. If we push past our limits and say we're not done and find the way, because there has to be at least one. There has to be at least one way to succeed and prevail. And that is one thing I like. That is what I love, is that because of Asta's "I'm not done yet" mentality, you'll literally have scenes in like whatever, like later on in the series when they have more 1-on-1 fights or 2-on-1 whatever type fights, the other bulls and even other squad captains and squad members will think of Asta, and they'll literally say out loud, "Why the fuck am I thinking of this idiot?"
Yes.
And they'd be like, because this idiot wouldn't give up yet. I think I'm out of mana. Asta would just literally rip his muscles to shred and die before he gives up. I need to do that. And you even have like chapters recently when very, very important characters have faced literal death. Like I am standing in front of a devil at 100%.
Yes.
And I have no mana. I am literally standing in tattered clothing with not a single drop of energy in me. But I'm not going to give up.
Yeah,
because Asta wouldn't give up. Like, Asta would rather die.
When I read that in the most recent chapter, I was sitting there like, wait, first of all, it's from a character who doesn't normally give up, period, anyways. And then...
Yes, very stubborn in their own
very
right.
stubborn. Second, this person's usually very stoic. And there's just beautiful panel of him looking up at the demon and going, I don't think I can beat him, and he's crying. And you're sitting, and he's like, I've let all these people die on me. And then, literally, he thinks of Asta and is like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give up here. And then, awesome stuff happens after that.
And then, possible ass pull, but we're going to let that one slide due to emotional heaviness.
Yes.
But again, it's not even an ass pull because... emotional development.
Yeah.
When you actually like that is one thing. So me and my brother talk about anime a lot. I have an elder brother.
Yeah.
I've watched like who's got like really got into anime over this past year, and we've been having really great discussions. And one aspect of anime that I really love is that I don't know. I feel like I neglected this for a while during my anime phase. But when you contemplate the fact that these anime characters face death at every turn, but they never really call it out. So when they finally hit that last desperation moment of actually accepting, holy shit, I might die right now. Like I've gotten close to death. Woo, we've had some close calls, but I've been all right. Nah, there's nothing saving me. It's me against the literal monster incarnate, and I have nothing. But pushing past that and developing that, no. Even though I have no shot at living, I know I'm going to find a way to live. I'm going to find a way to win. Because I have to. Because there's no one else. And then having that be the catalyst to develop further, like that is why I love the power system of Black Clover, the grimoires. Because it's so tied to the series. It's like another power system to kind of draw an equivalency. Nen in Hunter x Hunter.
I was going to say Nen.
Because your Nen is literally formed by your life. Whatever you have lived through, who you are as a person, your emotions, your mental state. Are you a manipulative type person? Are you more callous, witty, honest, forward, da-da-da-da? Whoever you are is what creates your Nen.
Yeah.
It's not like you sit back and you're like, you know what my Nen's going to be? I'm going to fling conjured fucking socks at people.
It really makes it,
it's who you are.
It really makes it look like the mangakas are like, instead of having I want this person with a power, let's come up with the power first and then the person. It feels like it's the other way around. It's like I have this idea of a character. Okay, what power can I give that character? Type of deal. And how can that person evolve with that power? Which is super cool.
You know what's one series that should have actually leaned into that so much more and they fumbled the bag, but they're trying to rectify it now? My Hero Academia.
Okay, yeah.
Here's why. Because especially in the latest anime season and going into the manga, like literally the next chapter from this, like the end of season 5 and where we're at in the manga now, you come to find out quirks and personalities tie a lot more together than really has ever been stated. Like, look at Bakugo.
Yeah.
Right?
He's explosive.
Bakugo is lit. Bro, Bakugo will just be walking into, Dicka, what the hell are you doing here? Mother, I'm eating a sandwich. Like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone.
How dare you eat in my presence?
I don't want smoke. So I really wish that My Hero leaned into that earlier, because when you look back at it, it makes sense. Uraraka is always upbeat and positive, happy-go-lucky, because she's literal zero gravity. Todoroki, half hot, half cold. Most of the time, he's kind of stoic. That's the cold.
Yeah.
When he gets pissed and explosive, that's the hot.
Yeah.
Endeavor, the hell flame, the jet, the hell, motherfucker just be walking around on fire. You think he gonna be happy?
No, he's gonna be pissed
That
off.
man is literally walking around heated.
Yeah.
Old streets, like he heated.
Yeah. So, yeah, going back to Black Clover though, the whole aspect of the basically the guild, the don't fuck my guild, I really actually wanted to talk about that a little bit more. Because there's this arc right after Asta fought Vado where Asta lost his arms. And then when he did that, it was like one of the only times we got to see Asta looking negative. He's kind of down on himself a little bit, and he's trying to push past it, but you can tell he's struggling a little bit. And that's when all the members of the Black Bull guilds were like, nah, we're going to find a way to fix your arms. You know, we may have been told it's irreversible. Nah, we're going to find a way. And
because there has to be one.
Yes.
Because there has to be one.
Yes. And so I just love that aspect where like, and then they started working together more where like they wouldn't necessarily work together. We get this weird combination between Gordon and Gauche.
The 2Gs.
Yes. And that's kind of the point where that duo kind of starts off, and it's a little subtle, but as the show progresses, you get to see that duo work a little bit more, along with Gray. Then we got the 3Gs.
Triple G.
So,
but one thing I love about the arc placement of that is so perfect, because pretty much, so like we're talking, understand everything that we were just talking about in terms of like the arms and everything, that's really not super deep into this. That's like the first 50 episodes.
Yeah,
isn't Venom like 36 or something like that? Like this is also the pacing of Black Clover, especially in the anime, is really good. Like shit just keeps happening.
Yes.
So you start out with Asta being this understand Asta's loud as shit. Like
first...
Black Star ain't got shit on Asta.
Yeah. The first couple episodes,
I mean, he calms down.
Yeah, he calmed down after that. I honestly didn't bother me. I just kind of saw that as part of his character. So,
and it is, because the thing is, it's again, you have to, like, when you literally have no magic, you are short with no magic. You have to be loud enough to motivate yourself. But I love it's the arc that takes place. So you have Asta coming in as this freaking peasant from not even just the outskirts, from the Forsaken realm. I'm talking, this man is living on the border, far away from everything, and then joins the guild, and slowly has to earn his own respects and earn his place. And then you have the Veto fight, which is pretty much like that is a boss tier character that should be fighting captains against the squad. And Asta is really their only hope in winning, but Asta has to literally cast his life into his friend's hands and does it happily. He's like, yo, I trust you with my life. You guys are my senseis. You guys are my uppers in our guild. Yami picked you. Why wouldn't I trust you with my life? And they do.
Zero hesitation. One little screw up,
we get it done.
All done. It's over. One screw up, one little mistime, it's all over. But with that,
a millisecond of miscooperation, and everyone is thunderclapped out of existence.
Yes.
And they pull it off. And seeing this kid, like, and all of them say it at the end of the fight, like, all of them look at Asta like, God damn, this motherfucker got some chutzpah. Like, this son of a bitch really bout it. Like, when he says, I'm not done yet, because, like, so in that fight is when his arms get really, really mangled. And this man is a swordsman. That means he needs his arms. And he's like, all right, cool. Just wrap him up. I'll rip the sword as tight as I can, and we gonna get it. So having that build, like that grand character development arc within the guild, coalesce in that big team dynamic fight, which is absolutely beautiful. The scoring's amazing. They even go back to the first opening theme song, because that's the start of the adventure. Really ties it together. And then after that, you have the next arc of saving Asta. And the two scenes that I really, really cherish, and now we're just going to full spoil it. After Asta finds out that his arms aren't going to be healed, like he's kind of mopey. And you have this beautiful scene where his arms like double bandages and double braced. And he's like standing on a rock in a clearing in the forest, and he's looking at the moon. And all of the Black Bulls are there waiting for Asta to cry. Because they're like, we know what's going on. Like, Asta has not told anyone this. But everyone else knows, because I believe Finral overheard when he was talking with the Grand Healer of the Kingdom. And so everyone's kind of waiting to, like, see Asta break down. And Asta just starts screaming, he's like, you think this is enough to break me, fate? I almost faltered once. I'll never falter again. I'm not done yet. I'll lose my feet. I don't care. I'm gonna be the Wizard King. And everyone's watching like, bro, just break. Like, there's no way you still have faith. But he does.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't cry. And he's like, listen, like, I'll find a way. Like, sorry, I was mopey. And then, like, no one wants to tell Asta where they're going. So people just start leaving the guild. So, like, Asta's kind of sitting there, like, in his mopey face. And everyone's like, all right, we're going to go this way. He's like, where you guys going? They're like, shut up, you useless. You got no arms. Sit down and rest. He's like, okay. And then he finally overhears two characters talking about where everyone's been going. And they leave to go help Asta. And that's the moment when Asta finally breaks and you see him cry. Because he realizes the thing he's always dreamed of having, he has. People that believe in him as much as he believes in them. And that actually have his back. And then the next arc is just fucking bonkers.
Oh my gosh, that arc was nuts. Getting into Vanessa backstory and that. The whole Diamond Kingdom invading just kind of out of nowhere almost.
It's incredible. But like that, that is what I mean. Like, that's a Straw Hat moment.
Yes.
Like, that is very much a fairy tale. Like, not just power of friendship, but the power of just that communitas. Like, we got, like, you literally threw away your future to make sure we defeated the villain that was going to kill us and destroy the world. What kind of guildmates would we be if we didn't find a way to bring it back?
Yeah. So that I just love that mentality so much. And so one other thing that I kind of want to bring up is it's something that I've always been kind of on the fence, though, is like I always kind of want to see a little bit more negative side when it comes to Asa, kind of showing his kind of the mental struggles. I still think him being positive in the end is good, but I kind of want to see him struggle a little bit more. And I think watching the EDs, especially for Black Clover, really illustrates that more than in the manga, where the EDs are usually kind of abstract, but they are done in such a beautiful way that kind of delivers.
They're very theatric.
Yes. So that's always been kind of one of the things, is that sometimes I always felt like Asta is almost a little unnecessarily optimistic, but seeing those EDs really, really kind of fills that little bit of a
because you want to see it because you want to understand the inner struggle, but I also love the fact that they don't show it because of where Asta starts. Like, maybe like more recently, like especially after like the Dante fight, you see that struggle a lot more. And especially like into now this latter, like the manga parts, you see it come up a lot more. Because the reason being is that from the start of the series till now, Asta had no room to doubt. Because any doubt, any negative, any not having absolute faith and positivity, Asta would be dead.
Yeah.
Just straight up, Asta would be like, he needed to be that, like, just unorthodoxly positive and loud and peppy. And then now that he has more of the strength, he can have more of those internal dialogues, more of that, like, shit, like, what have I been doing? Like, am I strong enough? Is this the right way? But the thing is that Asta's character, like, imagine spending your whole life knowing that no one's gonna believe in you but yourself. From a young age. Like, literally from when like, you actually have the idea of self at, like, what, like 4 years old?
4 or 5, yeah.
Right? Now imagine a decade of ridicule and understanding. I have to be my own biggest fan. You very much learn to start just killing off all those invasive, like, intrusive thoughts, because you're like, I give any one of these the time of day, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I'm not gonna be able to, like, I'm so far behind the world that I have to overcompensate in every way, even in my psycho-mental.
Yes.
I have to overcompensate to be able to get there. Like, you'll see have more of those moments. The other Black Bulls, even Yami will have some of those moments when he gets his shine. Because he has the strength, he has the caliber, he has the normal experience. Well, not even normal. Actually, I want to take a pause. Captain Yami I would probably say Captain Yami is my favorite character from Black Clover. And here's why. Yami is the shonen protagonist after the series ended.
Oh, that's a very cool way of stating that.
Think about it. Yami got isekai. Yeah. Yami is literally from Japan.
Yeah. And he just woke up on the beach and is like, well, I'm here now. He's
a complete outcast. Yes. Go ahead.
I was like, no, he's a complete foreigner that nobody trusts because he's a foreigner. Except for the one greatest man of all Black Clover, Julius Novachrono, a.k.a. the current Wizard King.
Yes, sir. Hashtag Stream King by Professor Kuro featuring my boy Diggs the Prophecy.
Oh, I listen to that song all the time.
My man. But no, like, that is why I love Yami, because you get to see Yami and Asta are such wonderful mirrors of one another. Complete outcasts, isolated by society, looked down upon, had one person show faith in them. That is the one thing I love. And I brought it up with, like, there's always one way. One person. Yami got it from Julius. Asta had to wait all of his life. Understand, the adoptive nun, Sister Lily, and the father of the church that Yuno and Asta grew up in, and the other adoptive orphan children that are with him, none of them believed in Asta. Because they're like, we want to, but you have no magic. Like, literally, the world is built a world above you. But finally, Asta got the one person to believe in him, Yami. And who did Yami have? Julius, the current king. So with Yami, I really love to see him because you can see what a lifetime of growth in that world looks like. Because you have some flashbacks, you don't get many, but you just see, like, where he started to where he is now. And even his magic is more akin to Asta, where he's like, well, my magic isn't exactly more fancy, it's reinforcement. So I still need to be physically tough enough to do what needs to be done, whereas other people can just stand back, fire a fucking hellstorm of, I don't know, Mercury?
Mercury.
Atop a silver eagle, and just never have to get into the battle. Meanwhile, I'm literally having to run smoke with a guy moving at light speed, and I have to freaking sense his ki, and this is bullshit. But I just have to go to that comedy
ki
skit.
is also really cool. Just
I want to get to that.
Go for it. Go.
That is so interesting. But with Yami, like, you get that full arc. But what is the world of Black Clover tied to? Character development. So even though you get to see what does the shonen protagonist look like 20 years later at the end of the series as a captain of his own brand new guild, the Black Bulls, searching the world for misfits and outcasts alike. But he still grows. He gets new spells. His grimoire develops. His character develops. Even the Black Bulls go from being this rambunctious group to like, nah, mission time. And they're like, Yami, mission time? Yami's like, mission time. They're like, I bet, mission time. And you see that growth. And another reason why I called him a shonen protagonist at the end of the series, there are two people in all of Black Clover that use ki. Yami, and who did he teach it to? Asta. Which makes it an original, unique ability in a brand new world to overcome the adversity. Yami is literally a shonen protagonist who already finished his, like, literally Black Clover is Yami's Boruto.
Yes.
Like that is how I look at Yami, because that is just how his arc looks. Isekai, found by the future king, grew up, like, kind of de facto son in some regard. Like, the respect that they hold for one another is incredible.
Yes.
Yami and Julius. And then especially with the ki, now you have the direct descendant tie, and Jiraiya giving Naruto the Rasengan, All Might giving Deku One for All, Yami giving Asta ki, because again, Asta doesn't have ki. Asta literally dies in every fight.
Yeah.
Because he has no way of sensing magic because he has none. So what is another great equalizer? Ki, who comes from who? Yami.
Yes, and the whole idea behind Ki is really interesting because, yeah, Asta can't sense magic. So there's even chapters where, like, people are like, oh no, they have some really, really high magic power. And Asta's just sitting there like, huh? He looks like a normal dude.
I have to shout out my brother on this one. One of my favorite fucking comedy scenes in Black. By the way, Black Clover does comedy
so well.
So amazing. So understand, I have literally shed tears of laughter watching some of the episodes. So it's in the latter part of the series, at the start of the Heart Kingdom arc. They get all, so it's like, it's Asta and a couple of the people, specifically Asta and Noelle are the main people I'm going to talk about in this scene. They all get handed a juice. And the way the juice works is that you infuse your mana, your magic, into the juice, and it makes it sweet. Miskeen, who's the one that has no magic? Asta. So Asta takes a sip, and I swear to God, like, you have to see the way it's animated, because they give him such a cutesy face. Asta goes up to Noelle, Miss Prima Donna Princess. He goes, Noelle, can you put some mana in my juice? It's really bitter. And the way Asta's voice goes, it's really bitter. You actually feel pain. Like, damn. The whole, like, because the reason that's so great is that you go, like, 50 episodes. Like, you at one point forget that Asta doesn't have magic. Like, at some point you understand, like, all right, this dude's just gonna beat the shit out of people and shit's gonna go good. Like, it don't even matter no more. And then you realize even the most small things, like a smoothie, does not function for Asta because he has no magic. You poor summer child.
Yes. And one more thing I want to actually talk about at this point is we talked earlier about the kind of class system. And when you brought up Noelle, I actually really started to think about this, because what Black Clover does really well is trying to break apart the caste system, and shows how hard it is to do. It's not something that can be done overnight, and I love that. So, like...
And
yeah, go ahead.
Another parallel to One Piece. I'm sorry. Like, I know I'm getting annoyed. I'm like Peso Pete.
Yeah.
Right? Peso Pete drops a One Piece bar in every fucking song. I will talk about One Piece every third sentence, okay? It's goated for a goddamn reason. Luffy's character throughout the entire series does not change. But because of his character not changing, the world around him feels like, literally, it's the idea of, if I drop a pebble into the water, it slowly ripples. But if those ripples never stop, what happens after a while? They become waves. Now they become big waves. Now we're talking about tsunamis, and that's what Luffy does to the world of One Piece. Asta, you have a peasant that is rescuing your kingdom, waging war on other kingdoms, stepping up where captains and kings alike fail. And not just one peasant. You have Yuno!
Yeah, who's doing the exact same thing, but on the nobility
side. With magic!
Yeah.
With magic! Like, on the nobility side. And you just see that the world's kind of like, well, fuck. I mean, like...
And then you have Yami, too, like, who also isn't an
outsider.
And
a complete outsider. And, like, the rest of the Black World, like, you, like, it's because of that, you start to see the world, like, at first, you see these tense moments. One of my favorites, one of my favorite scenes in Black Clover, it's Asta and Noelle. They get invited to the King's Castle, Julius, the Wizard King's Castle, for a banquet to celebrate their commendations. They just did a successful mission, blah, blah, blah. And you meet Noelle's 3 siblings. You meet Silva and dumb fuck one and dumb fuck two.
Yeah.
They don't even get names from me. I disrespect them. But yeah, you get Nozel and what's the third one's name? I always forget.
There's Nozel is actually the lead captain. They're Solid, and then the I don't actually remember her name.
Okay, but Solid's the most important one. So one of Noelle's elder brothers, Solid, just starts shitting on Noelle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you even here? You're a disgrace to our family. You killed our mother, you worthless fiend. You can't even use magic, and your nobility, you're a waste of blood. Literally just tearing into Noelle. And Noelle's like about to cry. Like, she's like, yo, just leave me alone. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to see you. Like, leave me alone. And Asta's like, yo, who the fuck do you think you are talking to? And shuts the whole conversation down.
Yeah.
And like Noelle goes to run away, and he's like, nah, I ain't leaving. He gonna apologize. And mind you, he's with like higher level people in higher up guilds. And they all start throwing attacks, trying to shut up this person. Like, you're a mouse among giants, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not done talking. Y'all motherfuckers gonna hear me. I don't play that bullshit. You better apologize for your sister. What kind of big brother are you? And literally, like, Asta's going to get killed at this point. But he's like, I don't care. You don't disrespect my you don't disrespect my guildmate. You don't disrespect my sister.
Yes, my sister, my friend. Yeah.
And then later on, these same characters are faced with the fact that Noelle gets stronger. Asta gets stronger. Yuno gets stronger. The Black Bulls become a perennial guild that are actually top tier. And that flip really does change the way that the world looks at nobility. And it perfectly fits because the first Wizard King, Julius, and Asta all have one of my favorite things in anime, period. The inherited will.
Yes.
They all share the same will to change the world, to stop having that class distinction. And later on, even Asta says it in these like, there are moments where any other person would look at the villain and be like, I'm going to fucking rip out your heart. And Asta's like, stop, everyone just take a second. Why are you mad at me? Like, literally, Asta mid-fight stops someone from doing an attack and is like, I want to know, why do you hate us? Like, we have plenty of reason to hate you. You came out of nowhere. You fucking hurt one of our commanders. You took one of our friends. You killed people. You're ruining stuff. We have reason to hate you. But you have so much hate. I want to know, what did we do to you? Maybe if we talk, we can actually understand each other and not have to resort to violence to communicate. And you have like 3 other characters that are looking at us like, you're a moron. Why do you sound so smart and correct right now?
Yeah, he's basically learning how to do the Talk no Jutsu, and like the whole
that's actually really true.
The whole Eye of the Midnight Sun arc, one of my favorite arcs, period. Like, I just love how that whole arc, basically, it was the cycle of hatred. Basically, it started off, and it all propagated from an outside force that no one ever thought about, the devil himself.
Such a great written plot twist.
Yes.
The fact that you are watching this series and you are put into such a moral quandary where there's no right answer. You're like, are the elves just? Are the humans just? And the answer is neither and both. And then you get the coin flip. And you finally have a proper answer that makes sense because it's been discussed the whole series with no one realizing it.
Yes. Yeah, because up to that point, it was like, we get mentioned devils like once because Asta is part devil, which when that first got revealed, I love that because Asta, during that Witch's Forest scene, where it looks like Asta, oh no, he's going to get controlled by the devil. And then he just immediately snaps out of it. Like, nah, I've got full control over this. Like,
speaking of that scene, I love the witch's speech.
Yes.
Because she literally says, she's like, I thought you were part of this ancient bloodline. I thought you were special, but you're not. Asta is quite literally a normal human being that just so happened to be born without magic. That is the only thing that makes Asta special in terms of his biological, physiological makeup. What makes Asta special is his heart.
Yes.
I have no magic. I'm just going to work out and believe and be positive. And that is what allows him to be the only one in the world to utilize anti-magic, to become who he is now. I absolutely, because I thought they were gonna do an ass full like, oh, Asta is descended from the great house of Lucifer Diablo Cornelius the Third. No, dude's just a fucking nobody.
Yeah,
and he out here like, I'm gonna just topple the world.
Like even like the way they tied his mother in is really really cool because she almost
theoretical mother, right? They haven't confirmed.
The anime confirmed it, I thought.
Anime confirmation.
True. Fair enough.
I want to see it in the panels.
True. That's very, very true. So, yeah, it's the whole idea that he's kind of descended from, this impoverished woman who literally helped set him up to get the demon that he has to begin with. Like
happenstance, sheer coincidence.
Basically, what she also had that kind of will where she's like, I don't want to hurt you. A demon. She had sympathy.
A literal demon in front of her,
and she's like, I don't see a monster in front of me. I just see a sad being. I just love that.
Yeah, I just see a kid.
Yeah. So
it's again the inherited like that. I think. That is one thing I would love to see more in Western media, because that is one thing that is so prevalent in anime that I think is such a beautiful motif. The idea of you can be so inspired by someone that you could, or an idea, or an energy, and have that be so part of your being that it is inherited will. Because I love because a lot of like Western media is all about like bloodline, right? Like, and you think of Game of Thrones. There's no inherited will. It's like, all right, you literally are the son of this guy, so you're important. You're literally not the son of this guy, so we're just going to kill you because you don't matter.
Star Wars as well.
Exactly. Whereas now, instead, it's like, no, I'm inspired by you. Or we both shared the same dream. If you want, actually, speaking of inherited will, the conclusionary fight that Yuno just had is the perfect example. They both shared inherited will and are literal black mirrors of each other. What would happen? Like, I'm full spoilers right now. You literally get to see a moment of what would Yuno be like if he lost Asta.
Yes.
That is what that fight is showing you. If you ever wanted to know what evil Yuno looks like, it's in the manga. Because you see it.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Because Yuno's not the most Yuno is positive by proxy, but as a kid, Yuno was a crybaby, and then resolved himself to be stronger because of Asta. And even beyond that, he's always been cool and kind of not aloof, but kind of stoic and reserved, unless it's boiling rage or it's Asta who would just naturally piss him off because brothers do that.
And well, the thing with Yuno's character that I like is that he and Asta, literally, it's all formed by the promise. We're going to be, like, I'm going to be the Wizard King. And they forged that promise early on as a kid, I believe. And then they reforged it in episode 1 when Yuno finally knocks some sense into Asta because Asta's like, this is right before he gets his Black Clover, his grimoire. And
but I like that though. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm not wrong. And Yuno is being beaten up by this dude with chains. And Asta is all like, I can't do this. I don't have anything. And this is the one time he showed Yuno weakness. And Yuno's like, this is not the dude I made the promise to. This
is not my rival.
Yes, you pull yourself together. And Asa's like, yes, I need to pull myself together. He summons the grimoire just out of nowhere practically and defeats the dude. And then they reforge that promise. And it's such a cool moment that they almost reference a little too much, but it's still...
They anime flashback to that scene so many times. It's nutty. I'm pretty sure I could draw it frame by frame at this point. And one thing I love about that scene, and I love that they did this so early in the series, is that you start off the series, right, with people saying Asta has no magic, or they say little to no magic. That villain that Asta has to overcome at the end of episode 1, and that's the villain that eventually has him, like, that fight is what allows Asta to get his grimoire and Yuno and him to reaffirm their rivalship. That villain, his ability is to detect mana. and literally stabs Asta and is like, you have 0. Not a little bit. I mean, you are devoid. I don't even think you have mana circuits in you. Like, you have nothing, kid. You will never have magic. And that's the moment that breaks Asta, because that's the first time he knew with absolute certainty, I'm never going to have magic. Like at that point, no matter how optimistic you are, how physically strong you are, you have nothing. And that's the only time Asta wavered. Because he's like, well, shit, like I can do push-ups out the ass, but if someone throws a fireball at me, what the fuck am I going to do? And then that's when Yuno tries to like, no, Asta's gonna be my rival. We're gonna fight to be Wizard King. This is not. And then fucking thunder strikes and demon energy, and Asta starts breathing heavy, and all of a sudden I'm crying, and people are getting hype, and then opening one starts playing, and that's how you know shit's real.
Yes. So we're wrapping up close to time here. Is there anything else you really want to talk about Black Clover?
Ooh. If there's anything else I would like
any
to really
theories
talk about
you
Black
have.
Clover. I'm going to hit theories, and I'm going to hit one more thing.
Okay.
The first thing I want to tackle is one thing that Black Clover does a lot better than a lot of other animes. It keeps its supporting cast relevant.
Yes.
Both within the Black Bulls Guild as well as outside in terms of other characters. Marks the hand of the Wizard King. Even not the Wizard King, but the literal Clover King himself stays relevant. Freaking stays relevant.
Seke.
Seke now. But like all the other characters that you meet along the way, even ones from other kingdoms, come back and develop and have connections and are relevant. And they keep building upon that so that there's a really rich tapestry of character connections. In terms of theories, honestly, Black Clover is one of the few animes that I really don't theorize often because I've just been enjoying the run for so long. Like I couldn't even, like if I were to try and even like spitball the theory right now for where the arc is going to end, I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, I would not mind if the ending of the series, motherfuckers got to literally go to hell to run smoke.
I was going to say, that's what it's looking like.
No problems with that. I got zero qualms.
I have one theory. And my theory is that Asta will become the Wizard King, and Yuno will be the King of Clover. The Clover King. I think they're going to work together.
Ooh, that could be... I'll be honest. Actually, no, that's actually really interesting. I never thought about that. That could be a very interesting way to go, having two kings.
Yeah, because we have two kings, and I was sitting there, it's like, well, we've got one with magic power. Now, I don't know how they're going to get rid of the current king, like regular king.
Augustus Clover?
But, like, anything could happen there. But I could definitely see, like, Asta becoming the Wizard King because he's the MC. And he just has that mentality. He's got that inherited will. But we have Yuno, who's got kind of like a bloodline thing. So maybe there's that aspect, but I don't know.
So if I were to give a theory, and this is my theory.
Mm-hmm.
I think Asta does not become the Wizard King. What I think could happen, and this actually would make a lot of sense. I think that in the final climactic whatever the fuck, right? Either Asta dies or Asta has to stay somewhere else to defend the world. Right? Like maybe him and his devil have to go into hell to take out the demons, or he has to stay behind and guard a portal, or something happens where Asta is either dead or permanently taken out of commission. And in doing so, does change the world because they're like, all right, the world literally only exists because of this peasant nobody. But at the same time now, Yuno is forced to take over as Wizard King. Not take over, but rises to the rank of Wizard King and is forced to do it in honor of Asta. And by doing so, will unite Spade and Clover as the Wizard King, but also the Spade King.
Yes.
And that's like my I'm talking this is tinfoil hat.
Oh, yeah.
Call Area 51. This fucking theory is out the wazoo. But that's what I think might happen.
Okay.
Or that would be a theory that I would like to see executed in some interesting fashion.
I mean, I've seen others where it's like, okay, will be just the Spade Kingdom king, and Asta will become the Wizard King. The thing is that I don't think has any desire to be the Spade Kingdom king.
He is Wizard King
Yes.
to the day he dies.
Exactly.
And if they actually pivot, like if they make it so that the only way I would accept it is if after this arc ends, like let's say it's a happy victory, all ends well, like all's well that ends well. I wouldn't mind if looks at Asta and is like, I know we had our promise, but how wrong of me would it be for me to leave my technically leave these people to no one?
Yeah.
Like if he has one of those moments where he's like, it's what I want to do versus what would be the right thing to do. And if they frame it, they need to give me some fucking dialogue. But if they frame it in that lens of for the greater good, I might have to sacrifice, or maybe you even says listen, I'm gonna be gone for a while, but you best believe when I finish cleaning up this kingdom and I name a head of it, I'm coming back for that Wizard King. Like if they do something like that, maybe. But I personally do want to see them both in Clover running smoke until they become Wizard King. But also, I'll be honest, I don't know how much longer Black Clover is gonna go.
It feels like it's wrapping up to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with this latter arc, I really don't know if Black Clover is gonna end this arc or the next arc. It's funny. It's the same thing with One Piece and Wano. I need this arc to end to see where we're going. Because with the Heart Kingdom arc, you knew the next 4 years of Black Clover.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I know what's gonna happen. With a lot of other shonens, not so much. Especially now, in a lot of the presence of a lot of shonens, JJK, it's hard to see where shit's gonna go. My Hero, it's hard to see where shit's gonna go. One Piece, we don't really know. Black Clover, we don't even know. Fire Force is going bonkers right now. So I really do love the fact now that you have a lot more space for theory, because really there's so much uncertainty as to how the future of a lot of these series are gonna go. So I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. Well, we're at our hour mark, so is there anything you want to plug again? Follow Professor Kuro on YouTube, Twitter. You Twitch, or?
I do Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream. And make sure you show some love to Nerdcore Central. We will be back soon. We've been under the radar, but make sure Nerdcore Central, add us on Twitter, Twitch. We do have a YouTube channel. We are on Spotify as well as other podcast streaming platforms. Wow, I had a freaking aneurysm just now. And make sure y'all show love, show support. The Anime Overanalyst. Y'all heard it. My man bought that Black Clover life. Dude's cool as hell. I really appreciate you having me to talk for a while. So y'all better be showing him all the love as well, because y'all already know how we do in the classroom.
All right. With all that being said, thank you all so much. I'm the Anime Overanalyst, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Deuces!
Talking Nerdcore today. We're talking Nerdcore. Talking Nerdcore our way. We're talking Nerdcore. Talking Nerdcore today. We're talking Nerdcore. Talking